get some insights in the news shaping the markets as we hit record highs today. We welcome in Jason Ware is with us, CIO of Albion Financial Group. Thank you so much for being here.
Sure.
So, I mean, you're coming in and it's a record for the S&P, the NASDAQ 100, the Dow Jones Industrial Average. I know we've had the NASDAQ pull back since, but the point is, I'm not sure anybody expected records this week after the selling that we had seen of late.
Yeah, for sure. So we've obviously had a pause in the market prior to NVIDIA, and NVIDIA was the thing that excited everyone back into the market. Almost felt like there was this collective pause ahead of NVIDIA. What's going to happen? Can we keep the momentum going in tech and AI? And of course, NVIDIA delivered, and we've seen the market move higher since.
So it's interesting because I guess it could have gone either way, and I actually heard some people taking some NVIDIA off the table prior to the report just to lock in some gains, and they were a little nervous. At this point now, you know, how are you feeling about the market? I mean, we know that we're going to be higher for longer. We expect cuts probably in the back half of the year. I don't know. But how do you feel overall?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard not to feel good, right? I mean, we had a strong economy in 2023. That momentum has continued into 2024. If you look at most of the, current economic information, whether it's retail sales, it pulled back in January, but the banks and credit card companies are telling us that retail sales continue to look good in the consumer spending. If you look at businesses, they're investing, corporate earnings are holding up, and confidence is now starting to improve. Inflation's moving in the right direction. So the economy is holding up, profits are holding up, and as a result, I think the market still looks pretty good in here. If we can avoid recession and if earnings come in throughout the year and we do get that Fed pivot, then things continue to look like they're shaping up well.
How fine is the economy? Because folks are spending like everything's fine, even when they don't have the money to do so. We've seen credit card debt on the rise at records, some delinquencies and such. And there's this lifestyle mentality.
Yeah, there is. I mean, look, we have to remember that we're still in the process of normalization post-pandemic. We had a big boom in 2021 in terms of spending and GDP and investment. That started to settle in 22, and then we had an uptick in 23 once we kind of got past that adjustment for interest rates going higher and got past the initial shock of the war in Ukraine, et cetera. And I think the consumer is kind of just on a path where unless we start to see unemployment go up, they're seeing real wage growth. Yeah, they've spent through a lot of the pandemic savings, but they have enough money, they're gainfully employed, and they're still earning wages, and that's keeping spending going. So look, the economy is doing better than fine. It's quite robust. It's accelerated in the back half of 23 relative to the prior 4 quarters, but we do continue to think it will track lower over the next few quarters. Slowdown is just kind of inevitable, if you will.
Right, and you said some of the earnings expectations. How do you feel earnings season has gone thus far? And do you feel the expectations going forward may be a little lofty?
Expectations are definitely lofty. So Q4 earnings look pretty good, a little bit of growth. So we've had 2 consecutive quarters of year-over-year growth after having 4 quarters down. Margins were struggled sequentially, down 100 basis points. But look, on balance, revenues are up. Margins are hanging in if you look at them relative to a year ago and on a 5-year basis, and profits look pretty good. As we look out over the next few quarters, that's where the risk might lie. 11% expected earnings growth this year, another 13% expected in 2025, and those are high numbers. We're going to have to see either the economy reaccelerate or we're going to have to see margins expand. Both of those are definitely not given. So with the market up here, we're going to have to see earnings come in.
So with all of this being said, what's your advice to investors for 2024? You have some people who are putting a lot of cash on the sidelines. We've had a lot of money in money markets. Is it worth moving that, et cetera?
Yeah, so my advice is kind of boring because it looks beyond 2024. The advice is stay the course. The advice is have a financial plan. Know what your goals are, know what your risk tolerance is, know what your time horizon is, and invest accordingly. As we look out over the next 12 months, I think there's a lot of reasons to be optimistic that the market can continue higher if we avoid recession. But nothing is a given, nothing's guaranteed. So you have to look beyond 12 months and say, how does the next 3, 5, and 10 years look, and am I on track? And if you're on track, then you're in a good spot.
What would you say to folks about, I mean, we just got NVIDIA, so the Magnificent Seven, growth versus value, U.S. versus international. What do you think? Are those good plays, the Magnificent Seven? Let's start with that.
So many choices, right? And we have to pump the brakes on FOMO. It's to see NVIDIA go up again, and all the associated AI stocks can be challenging to say, oh wow, I'm not in those, or I don't have enough of those. But look, I think making sure your portfolio is right-sized for the risks that you're willing to bear. And yeah, we still like the Magnificent Seven. We don't own all of them. We own 4 of them, and we've owned 4 of them for about a decade. So we continue to like
the good
those.
4?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, we have Google, we have Microsoft, we have Apple. So look, and Amazon. And we like Oracle as well. It's not in the Mag 7. So we are definitely tech exposed. We're overweight tech.
Right.
We think investors can continue to position themselves like that. These are high quality companies. But short term, who knows what's going to happen?
Because we've had a lot of tech conversations.
Yeah, we
have. I figured you were leaning towards tech, or you had tech in the. How about crypto? I mean, is that something that is interesting to you, or you stay away from that?
No,
mostly?
we stay away from that. That's all speculation on price. Just as far as like intrinsic fundamentals, there's nothing there to hang your hat on. Yeah, you can talk about blockchain and what's the value of blockchain and how does that impact the price, but that's a game that we don't have an edge in, so we just stay clear of crypto. I think if people want to speculate with a teeny part of their portfolio, pure risk capital only, go for it. But that's not where we are.
And
we don't do that for our
your strength is
clients.
what you've been doing for the last several decades and such. And
100%.
Because now they're talking about a spot Ethereum ETF, and that might be some news coming as well. It is great to see you, Jason Ware. Thank you so much for being here
Pleasure
in person.
being here. Yep.
Jason Ware of Albion Financial Group. Thank you so much.